What's up everybody, whatever part of the day you are in, I hope it is going absolutely well. Today we are unboxing the R5. Let me show you something. Already I've had this camera for not too long and look what I did. Yeah, I cracked the screen right there. Oh, there it is. There, right there. You can see it. Cracked the little display area right here. Long story short, I had it in a bag that I shouldn't have had it in, and it, yeah, bashed into something and it cracked that display. It is what it is. I shouldn't have done that, but it happened. It's only really aesthetic. It didn't damage the camera in any way, shape, or form. Either way, let's talk about what I love about this camera. The one thing that I do love about this camera is that the autofocus is really great. Compared to the R6, the R6 does a pretty good job of autofocusing, but I used it about a week ago now, and while I was trying to autofocus, it was doing a lot of hunting, whereas with my R5, you know, I point it in the direction that I want to get and it just seems to lock on to what I'm looking for. Whether I'm just touching the shutter button or if I'm using my screen to tap the area that I want to focus on, it does a really good job. The R6 struggled a little bit, especially in low light. So yeah, this is definitely better. And I'm gonna do a more in-depth review. These are just like my first takes on the camera, essentially. So yeah, the autofocus is really great. Another thing that I love about this camera is that they brought back the main dial. And my goodness, I'm not using the R5 for this. I'm actually using my EOS R to record this. But yeah, they brought back the main dial here. And it's also on the R6 as well, which is not mine, but a friend of mine's who lent it to me for a shoot that I was doing. They definitely brought back the main dial, and I'm just really happy to see that they brought it back. It wasn't on the R, which is what I'm shooting with, and that's why it's having some issues autofocusing on my eye, in particular on my face. Yeah, I really love the dial. I had it on the Canon 80D, I believe, and I really loved that feature. So it was really cool to see that on the R5, they brought that back because it wasn't on the R, which I'm shooting on right now. Another thing that I love about this camera in particular, the R5, is that there is this button on the front of the camera that is completely customizable, and it's just like right here at the bottom, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to customize it for, but I love that it's there because it's great access to whatever you're trying to customize it for. And there is a number of customizable buttons on the camera that you can use, but that button in particular right there, I think I'm gonna use to toggle between 120 frames per second and you know, 24, 60, and so on. I love that customizable button right there. I thought it was really cool. I haven't used it yet. I don't know how effective or how useful it is in my workflow when I'm actually shooting, but I think it's going to be great. Yeah. Now for the things that I don't love about this camera in particular, I kind of mentioned it. I kind of mentioned the hack around how I'm gonna get around this, and I think it's gonna work. We'll see. I'll update you. But I don't like how I have to go into the menu settings to go to a higher frame rate in order for me to shoot at 120 frames per second. Yes, I can just stick to 60 frames per second and slow it down by 50%, and it looks good. But with 120, it's just complete butter, and I absolutely love it, and I use it when I can for B-roll and so on. So we're gonna see if I can figure out a hack around that, but right now I have to go into the menu and literally activate a higher frame rate in order for me to get to 120, and then remember to take it off of that in order for me to get back to 60 frames per second and 24 frames per second, or 30 frames per second if that's what you're shooting in. Another thing that I really dislike, but honestly I can't do much about, is the 30-minute runtime on the video side of things. Now, the reality is there's nothing that can be done about this really, because the R5, even though it does some really great stuff on the video side, it still is a photography first camera, and it being a photography first camera, it has limited runtime, and that is 30 minutes. So the only solution really is to get a cinema camera like the C70, or if I wanted to cheat on Canon, the FX6 or the Red. You know, there's a whole host of cinema line cameras for sure. The last thing I don't necessarily like is that it is a bulkier camera. Bulkier than, you know, my little R that I have, that I'm shooting with right now. Yeah, it's just bulkier, but it does the job, so I guess I can't complain about that either. But it is a bulkier camera. This is just my first impressions of the camera. Like I said, I will definitely do a more detailed review on how I'm using it in particular. I'm not necessarily a tech person in particular. I'm not gonna go through all the specs or anything like that, but I'm gonna show you how I use it in my production business. And yeah, but those are the things I love. Those are the things I don't love about this camera. And if you have this camera, if you tried this out, if you've rented it, whatever it is, let me know in the comments, what do you love about the R5 and what do you not love about the R5? And have you chosen to go with a different camera altogether? Maybe you're a Sony guy, maybe you're a Nikon person, yeah. Maybe you just love Leicas. I don't know what you're into, but let me know in the comments what you shoot with and what you love about those cameras in particular as well. Anyway, that's all for me today. If this is something that blessed your spirit, go ahead and like this. If this is something you want to keep up with, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, blow it up people's elbow and all that great stuff. And if you want to get an alert of the next one, go ahead and hit that bell as well. Please do. Until the next one, go ahead and do something creative today. Peace. Very nice, quite nice.